And the high temperatures that have fueled those wildfires in parts of Europe are continuing, with another heat wave in the north of France underway. Temperatures are expected to reach 38 degrees here in Paris on Wednesday. It's the French capital's fourth heat wave of the summer, a clear sign that Europe's summers are getting hotter. And for more on this, I can now welcome Jean-Pascal van Ypersele, who is a climate scientist at the universities of Louvain and Liège in Belgium. Good morning, Professor van Ypersele, and thank you for joining us. This summer is not yet over and it's already breaking monthly temperature records, many of which have fallen for the second or third year running. Are we at a point of no return in the fight against climate change?
We're certainly not at a point of no return, but we are at a point of urgency, and where the awareness that climate change is really there could become much worse if we don't act much more, should be there. So we should seize this crisis moment to create a new momentum of climate action, both on the adaptation side and on the prevention side. That means reducing greenhouse gas emissions.
Now, the United States, under the second Trump administration, has once again abandoned the Paris Accords, whose targets had been widely criticised as being too modest. And European countries have also in recent years scaled back many of their environmental protection laws. Are the world's governments giving up, in your opinion?
Well, they're certainly not taking the climate issue seriously enough. And I really hope that this very sad series of events happening now, both the health effects that we should not forget, with the thousands of people who died in Europe from the heat stress over the past few weeks, and the terrible forest fires we are seeing now, will create a new momentum for climate action, because if we don't invest today in climate action, we will pay much more, both in money and in human lives, later.
Now, heat waves in Europe are already considerably more severe than just a decade ago. Many parts of the continent are not equipped for such heat. What can be done in the short term to alleviate the effects for residents?
Well, I think there are indeed things that needs to be done urgently, like opening access to cooled spaces, making sure that people who are isolated or who are in rest homes for the aged persons, etc., do not stay alone, really helps to stay hydrated, etc. But we also need to think about the long term and how to adapt our cities or rural environments to the new climate that is installing itself. We really need to promote more diversity in nature, for example, because we know, for example, that diverse forests, diverse ecosystems are much more resilient than monoculture of trees like they are in the Gironde now. I mean, we have seen in your images those very well-aligned series of trees. I mean, those are trees which were planted years ago and with little diversity. And diversity is really helping the resilience. Of course, that cannot be changed from one day to the next, but we really need to think about the future as well.
Now, the current blockade in the Strait of Hormuz has had the inadvertent effect of accelerating the development of non-fossil fuel energy sources. Do you think this momentum will be maintained beyond the end of this conflict?
Well, you are rightly pointing to one of the few positive effects of the crisis in the Middle East, and that is the new awareness that our dependence on fossil fuels is costing us a lot of money, and that indeed we need to move away from fossil fuels and decarbonize our economies, our lives, etc. Move to electrical mobility, for example, electrical ways to heat our homes if our homes need to be heated. etc. So yes, it will help at least for a few years, and the trend that we are seeing now, for example, towards more electric mobility in many European countries, with sales of electric vehicles surging because people don't want to pay €2 or more per liters of gas. Is probably a trend that will stay there for a long time.
Thank you very much for that, Jean-Pascal van Ypersele, climate scientist at the Universities of Louvain and Liège.
Yep.